Hi Gemini, this is your Taurus season reading, post-eclipse season reading, everything in Aries season reading. Just kidding, not everything's in Aries, but it's that time right now. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which will be in the first link below. Give it about 24 to 48 hours after this one initially comes out. They've been coming out quicker, so get used to it being about 24 hours, and it all just depends on how much time is needed in between, as I am mostly highly intuitive. I've never really talked about this either. Maybe it's important. I'm a highly intuitive reader, also study astrology, but mainly I can feel it and then the words connect it for me. Well, I connect it with my own words and then the transits connect it for me. I use that tool and technology first and foremost, and I will be sharing that more because I think that is really what's upgrading right now, which will probably come out of your reading to an extent because of this Taurus too, the Taurus season that we are going through. So yeah, and then there will be a podcast out soon as well. Again, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. This is just in a general reading. The extendeds, we definitely get more in depth. A lot more information comes out, but again, it's still general. 7 of Cups. There's some things we have to acknowledge. Well, sorry, I say that sometimes to make it less directive, but let's be direct. You may find that is a constant pattern in your life too. You may need to be very direct and very clear at this time, and you are going to get lesson over and over again, especially if you find yourself uncertain, unsure, confused about what it is what energy you're putting into something and what you're also getting from it. Especially if something's new or something's different, or there's a literal change in your life where you need to think and adapt differently, you'll be shown in the spaces. However, it is important, if you do not have those people in your life or different people in your life to help you do that, and also maybe like assign people those roles, or maybe you need to like pay for health practitioners and to a various degree, right? Whether it's spiritual or to do with money or your body, you'll need to be in touch with yourself through a safe space of others as well. So just wasn't expecting that. But I do want to relay that because the 7 of Cups is what we got right now, and we're talking about it, but other cards have yet to fall out. So you also may be looking for an answer right now, and you don't want to decide on anything yet. And that's something maybe perhaps different to you, even if you want to make temporary decisions or temporary placements right now, you even could be feeling a sense of hesitation where you're like, this question or direction has way too much power over me, or what control, we're going to talk about control. Where does this come from, right? Why can't I decide this? Why can't I let go of this? Why can't I see this thing through? Why is it hard for me to tell where I'm putting my energy, or too much of my energy? Where am I not maybe being, where I don't seem to have any honesty? Like, I don't know how to be honest with myself if it's a person directly, or if this was something that you're now kind of, something that's being brought up that came out a few months ago even. There may be, unfortunately, someone in your life who is manipulating you. It seems as though they like when you're confused. And I know that's hard to hear. We have the 7 of Cups and the Devil. For a lot of you, this person or situation comes in the form of a manifestation of an issue that you have deeply rooted. that deep down there's a confusion perhaps about your purpose and your desire, and you're like, damn, that's what you're getting from 2 cards. Yeah, this is the subconscious now, right? So you have all this Aries going on in your 11th house, and then you have your subconscious now being activated because you're next. Your sun sign is next. And Gemini, after, you know, we've having a lot of combos. Not so much, I know, not so much like direction or, you know, too much advice even going on here, because also like highly intuitive and psychological, more Jungian tarot here, you know, learn and gather through philosophy. And yet sometimes things are specifically straightforward. If you find yourself ever using those 2 sides of yourself, especially intellectually, you know, going back and forth about a person of like, but I really need them for, if they're just doing, you know, certain things for you to trigger certain, you know, unresolved things, then you don't need them to do the work. They're showing you where your work is. It doesn't mean that they're good for your life. Is it a safe environment, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about relationships. Is it a safe environment to do this work with this person? Are you always having to do it alone? Because eventually you have to come together. And what you may be hearing about this person, or what this person could be, or the situation could be spreading about you, is things that you can't control. You can't control how other people think about you. You can't control how others perceive you and talk to you. I have been on both ends of those things, right? I perceive, and also think about in your life, when you've perceived someone a certain way, instead of just being straightforward with that person, and if this is a situation where you can't be and it's like to your detriment, then there's an acceptance that you need to have about who you are and not letting anyone else define that, including yourself, because this comes from perhaps a conflict within where you've been asked too much of. Perhaps you are asked way too much of, and now you're getting in touch with yourself in a way that is going to allow you to express your genius in a way that is so good for you and so good for everyone around you. Is it gonna look good? Is it gonna be perfect? Is it gonna be hard? No, yes. Right? If you're coming, and how do you know, right? If you're coming from defensiveness in any area, you need it, and then you look at other areas where you don't, and it's very simple for you to be easy to like understand that this is not about you, not take something personally. I'm not saying you take everything personally. This is just what the cards are saying. This is a time where you need to make a clear decision within yourself and your mind. Taurus season is bringing this up because there's some really good things that are perhaps passing you by, or you're not seeing because you're so over here. Right? You still need to be, if anyone or anything is taking you away from yourself at all, this is a month where you're going to be shown that, and it's going to reveal itself. Here's where you have to defend your own honor. No one's going to defend your honor first. Why are we going back? Well, these cards always bring me back to like medieval times, like where, you know, they spoke as much as they could, and now we have a lot of words to describe something, and we can go around and around in circles, and we can be passive aggressive, and because we don't want to face it, we don't want to get into that hard conversation, perhaps, if you're one of those people, right? Or if you know people like that, or if that triggers you, there's work around that, right? And ask yourself when the last time you've been like super direct. Where in your life are you allowed to be as direct as you want to be sometimes? If you're thinking about yourself more right now, are you allowing that back and forth in your mind? What if this 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, Eight of Wands is bringing you really close to a spiritual, an even greater spiritual awakening. Taurus season is trying to ground you into the truth in the present of your life, to move through something that is really big for you. It's a time where you know what you've got, you know how much you generate, right? You know how much you've invested. You know, whether it's, again, this is monetarily and values to the self. This is emotional health. This is your creativity. If your creativity has been held back, or you've had to defend what you've, or even like give pushback, why are you giving pushback? Where's the resistance coming from? Why can't you hear something out, right? Like, when did this happen? And you start to maybe even like wind and reflect of like, holy shit, like this happened when maybe this situation started to escalate, because I felt like maybe you had to preserve yourself here in this space, and then it translated into every other area of your life, right? So now you're up against what you actually want to attach yourself to at this time, because having this move through your subconscious right now is going to shift the way you work and what you're recommitting to. And it looks like by the end of the month and through this time and through, Venus will be moving into Taurus very soon on the 29th. And there you may find even you want to do a ritual or something like out of the ordinary, or something you haven't done in a specific way in a while, but you want to give yourself this luxurious time, right? Luxurious time. Time is luxurious nowadays, right? Now we're learning how to slow down. Now we're learning how to find ease. Let's go on retreat. We pay for things so that we have legit periods of time where we're dedicated to our rest, because we can't dedicate it to ourselves already. We're paying money for it, right? Is there anything wrong with that? No. Have I participated? Yes. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. Absolutely. And then where can you actually put that into your life? It's like, I love psychedelics. I love exploring and doing that kind of work. I love meditating. I love escape. I smoke. However, sometimes you have to figure out where you can put this into your life. You know, maybe, sorry the noise if you hear it, there's some work being done, right? Mercury retrograde. And I say that to you guys too, because you and Virgo, your Mercury signs, a lot of shit happens during Mercury retrograde. You guys always having some shit go on. Whether it's technological that fucks up the convenience, right? So for you, it is a convenience thing, because you're always figuring out how to adapt and move and change and skill, and you can do it. But right now you might just be tired. You might just be tired, and you might need some time. And to you that may feel luxurious, but like the way this is put out, I want to show you, and we'll look at it in the next part, right? How like exhausting does this look? For a moment, yeah, exciting, but you're also like, oh, I don't know. Hand up. I love the Hierophant. The Hierophant's just like, yo. And I've done that to people before. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Some people think that's fighting, but like sometimes you just gotta go, yo. Bring it down. Like, just use the hand. Don't like keep it up high. Like, remember your fate. Just like bring it down, even to yourself. Maybe this is like something that you do where you're just like, okay, let's bring this down. What can you actually commit to at this time? And then you go, what can you actually commit to in a week? Or if you need to start with a few days, and then you go out to a few months. Like as I open my books month to month right now, I can't do farther out than that at this point. But hopefully we'll get to a point where I'm booked, where I can open up and have space and know more of what my life's gonna look like, right? That's just a personal example. So for you, maybe that's like, I need to commit to a 5-minute meditation practice a few days a week. And if you really want to, discipline yourself, but also love on yourself every day, and where you find like, oh, I don't feel like I have time, in that whole thought process, you could have been doing it. So maybe you just do that and you start there. I'm going to do this every day. I'm not going to do for 5 minutes every day, so that you can see. And then sometimes if you're getting too inside of your head, it's like, where can you use movement as where can it be therapeutic, right? Where can it be something that you're engaging with yourself? Because that is very Taurian too. Like, let's get into this body, right? Before we go communicate, before we go do things, let's get into this body. Let's sit with ourselves. Shit's coming up. I am needing a moment, and things are only going to move faster. So how can I get the support that I need, or at least start the process right now? And put those spaces in time where you need to create appointments. Like, if you're bailing on an appointment with yourself, you know, why would you, and yet you're keeping the ones with others. But notice, like, where you are keeping it, where you're maintaining, or where you don't actually have trust. You know, trust is a huge currency. And this devil here, it roots back to your day-to-day. It's Saturn. Like, how does this affect your day-to-day? And that's why it's so big. And that's why Taurus season is the perfect time to go through this healing, because then we want your, you know, we always want your Gemini season is so fucking fun, and it goes by in a snap, and it's very chaotic. Yo, air sign, not even. Gemini, Libra months. I was talking shit about another month because for when I'm tired, not talking shit. I was just saying, you know, I love earth sign months, but then I was like, but Capricorn season's iffy. And I meant it in a way where, and I think I said it wrong to Capricorn. I didn't mean it like that. Just like, they still want you to do things. And like, sometimes it's like winter and we don't want to do things. But then you can take that as like, maybe it's like the internal work. Maybe Capricorns need a break, right? What is the energy in the grand scheme of the sign, and how is that affecting each sign individually is how I also go about this. And why I'm explaining that to you is because in your sign and in Libra season, it can almost be like, what the fuck just happened? And who was I during that? And I see people, especially, but I'm especially speaking for myself, but I also look around where it's like, and now I'm like, how can we have more fun during, I think like that's the whole point. I think those signs are trying to like, yo, everything's wild and crazy. Like, how can we have the most fucking outrageous fun? Or how can we like accentuate this time? Maybe we feel sad. How can we fucking make it a sad song, right? Let's make art out of it. And then when we actually do it, right? So you may find that you want to make this, oh my god, I didn't even know this is the card that fell out too. This is perfect, Gemini. You may find that this makes you get in touch with a part of you that you have put down for a while, art that you've put down for a while. Maybe you take a class, right, where it's not centered around you and you're around other people, but you're focusing on you, right? Maybe that's helpful for you. Maybe you take a class, or you start, and then you notice that you're starting to want to work on you. Not in this way, like, not that you don't work on yourself, but like in this way. And it's very much like the artist's way is coming to my mind. If you've never heard of it, it's brilliant. But I believe you can do that in any type of way. It's just a really good guidebook to connect you deeper to source, which is yourself, and the creator, which you are. You know, you are the creator. Then we call this higher power the creator, and we're just like the creator of the creator, right? So like, that's, you know, we like going out there. So when you focus on this and you find that doing your work is like, that becomes therapeutic, because you're like living, and of course, if it's connected to a purpose or a deeper mission. So maybe that's also what you're finding through this, is that you're finding a deeper mission of why you're doing something, or why you're changing what you're doing, or why you're changing. All of this is changing you and how you approach and how you connect and how you work with yourself and create with yourself, and creating this luxurious time, this sacred space, right? I will be one to say I've given away a lot of information, and then I realized we're not doing it in a sacred space, and so therefore my words and my knowledge don't become as sacred. So this is a start to a sacred space, right? This is a start where you can come here every month, and I feel like I'm getting better at having these hard conversations of what the cards are coming up with, but also amplifying and acknowledging that you're good at this. However, this is coming up, or this is what you may be going through. How can this month help you with that processing or with that time. And it is a vulnerable time. But you feel more emotionally capable, and maybe that's what all this is about, is just being even more emotionally capable and realizing that the Ace of Cups, abundance exists without you having to think so hard or do too much or constantly be confused. That once the situation is person, you realize you know right away how to address it. And in turn, you ask yourself, perhaps, and I'm asking you now, is now that you're addressing it, how can you consistently address yourself when you know you need to hear something? Right? One side of you may accept it, and that's the beauty of you because you understand humans so well. But the other side of you needs to acknowledge that it doesn't have to exist in this way in your life. And you have that choice. If it's someone that you're tied to, it's like a father figure, or you're co-parenting with this person. Again, maybe discussing what boundaries look like depending on given your situation, right? Maybe this person's extremely stubborn and you need to find your way of protecting yourself. Yeah, they may provoke something out of you, but is it harmful for you? Does it leave you in distress? Or would just walking away and accepting that this person will never hear you, or may never hear you, or may never want to hear you, they're just also looking for that reaction and you're giving it to them. So that's just a very small example that could be happening in various different ways across the board. I like to use specific examples, because right now the last thing you need is for me to be vague to you with these cards. I know we can be vague sometimes, but it wouldn't be Taurus rising moment if I wasn't being direct and directly compassionate to you, right? So individuality, attachment, is it a third party thing? Like, is there someone you're finding out about, or you're finally acknowledging together? Infidelity could be possible, or, emotionally, mentally, in all of those ways could be possible this month. So, what you're recommitting to, and the person that you're committing to, and the people that you're committing to, all stems from what you commit to, right? I'm not saying that you have complete control, but if you really deeply commit, right? Deep commitment, loyalty to yourself first, doesn't mean that you stay stubborn on one thing. It means you change when a moment presents itself in a position where even that needs to grow, where your integrity needs to grow, where your loyalty needs to grow, and you find yourself, instead of accusing, you can come to an understanding, and then you get the decision to let go of something or not, or to continue to accept something or not. But then there will be a grievance. There always is a grievance period. Don't get me wrong, right? But that's what your creation does. That's what you do. You are your creation, and then the world extends itself from there. And then your psychic awareness is going to be heightened. We'll get more into that into the next part. And that's what I'm here to help do. So that's why I'm acknowledging that to you. So, yeah, let's get deeper in touch. All information is below. Thank you for being here. Really grateful if you are. This was, I feel, a really good reading for you, and in a way that I hope is helpful always. All right. We'll see you in your month. Happy birthday to those early Geminis too out there, to these May Geminis. I do hope that you have an amazing start to your birthday, even if it's from the underworld.